Thank you, Swarn. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deepti, for being here. So, would love to start with one of a major question which I always have, and I'm really glad that I got someone like you. So, one of the thing I would love to know is how did you start getting into counseling? What made you start first of all?
So, I think the beautiful thing about counseling and any of us who are in this space, I think first it starts with you. You would have had to go through something personal for
Mm,
to really understand what one goes through in a crisis. And for me personally, I went through a very severe skin disease at a young age where I really felt very lost, very hopeless, and that's when I went to a counselor.
mm,
My mom is also a practicing psychologist and counselor, so it was always around at home, but I guess still I really needed it. I didn't realize what value it had and how
mm,
much it could actually help someone. And that's when I
mm,
really decided that this was something I wanted to explore and wanted to do.
mm. Wonderful. So, coming to the skin disease, so what exactly happened with you in childhood because of which you had to do this, and you chose this completely a different direction of life.
So it happened to me when I was 19. I was
Hmm.
administered the wrong medication. So I was fine until then. I was away in college in Chennai. And I overnight, completely went into this phase where I was covered head to toe in this really bad, itchy rash. And I thought it'll go away soon, but I really went through, I mean, I almost died. So I really went through a very tough time. I've been to several doctors,
Hmm.
till I really found, something that worked for me and made me okay.
Yeah.
And that's when I really decided that I something had affected me so much, and there are things that affect all of us, but in
Yeah.
some small way, if I could help someone,
Hmm.
it really taught me that.
Wonderful. So, how long you have been in counseling now, or your own startup of counseling?
So it's not my startup. It's something that was started by my mother. I joined
Hmm.
the business in 2019. That's when
Okay.
I really decided. I had tried other things on my own, and I really decided that this was something that I wanted to do. And it's been 2 years now since I've really been hands on.
Hmm. Wonderful, wonderful. So I also realized that you have been to UK and you studied. So was that related to counseling itself, or was it something else out of your own interest?
Yes, it was for counseling skills to be certified, and I think it's important because I think there's a misconception of counseling in our country. It's
Yeah.
a gray area. People think that if you listen to people, you can become a counselor, but there's so many skills involved. You're really opening up a really deep, vulnerable part of someone, so you just can't think that just because you can listen to someone, that's great that you can listen to someone, you can be a support, but
Hmm.
counseling is totally different. So I wanted
Hmm.
an international certification, and to be certified by international standards, so that we really bring a good name to this industry in our country as well.
Got it. Wonderful. So this was an education for how long? When you were in London.
This was it was a distance course. I was not over there. I did it from here,
Okay. Okay,
but
you
it
did
was
that.
it was over a year.
Over a year. Got it. Wonderful. So, how was the reaction at family? How was it in family? How did they treat you? And did it bring a lot of self uh, questioning and a lot of resentment to self? How was that transition, and what made you believe that this is something? Of course, you wanted to support people in a sense that you went through that, but what was that edge where you decided, no, it is something I have to really do for people? And uh, I mean, that there must be a tipping point in your own situation? That's what made you realize that's, yeah, I have to do something.
So I think I've always felt that people need it. It's such a requirement. You don't need to have an issue. We all need a safe space to speak, etc. But I think again, what I found that Swarn, over the past couple of years, as I'm seeing our generation growing, I'm also seeing a lot of issues of toxicity, a lot of issues of with things like Instagram. Women feel so low about themselves, and not everyone is physically attractive. But then we compare ourselves so much, and I really thought, okay, if I can make a change in some small way, having myself been affected by something so physical, that here I can really, like, I've been there, I felt that, and I
Hmm.
can really help someone who maybe is going through that or feeling that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wonderful. So, was it because of counseling you felt that change happening for you, or was it your own determination, to make that change in your life? That you're not going to resent for it, or you're not going to be talking about it all the time, and you're not going to, self accusing yourself about why did it happen to me, and I mean, what can I do now? It's done. So, I mean, what was your course of action?
I think I have to say that I really believe very strongly that if God gives you a problem, He also gives you ways to fix it. And for me, I've been blessed with a really supportive family. My father, mother, sister, are,
Hmm.
you have been a huge, huge, huge support to me. They have never ever made me feel less or made me feel like something was wrong with me. I've had whatever I can, the best of doctors, treatment, whatever. And I think
Hmm.
because of my mom's professional background, she was really able to understand what I was going through, give me the right help. So it was a combination of this family system. I have really, really, really good friends. My best friend has been a huge support in this as well, and
Hmm.
then with, so it's, I really think that in many situations it's not, I can't just say it's one thing that helps. It's this
Yeah.
combination. So you have a great support system, you have one of
Hmm.
great friends, and then of course everything is up to you. You can have
Yeah.
all of it and still feel like you're not
Low
good enough.
about it. Yeah.
But, and for me, there's a switch. It's easy to sit and say, life has been horrible, this has happened, now what do I do? Or you can say, okay, this has happened, now what do I do about it?
Exactly. Wonderful. So I would love to know that, when that point came for you, what
Mhm.
were, some of the things which you have been doing for, consecutively for yourself, which made you reach what you are right now. You have been a TEDx speaker, you have been at multiple forums, and we actually connected on one of the panel discussion. So these are the platforms you got, right?
Mhm.
So, what are the, I'm sure there would be certain things which you really lived every single day to be able to reach to that level, to build on that confidence which it takes to be in a sustainable position and be with peace with yourself. So, what do you suggest for our female listeners on that?
I think as women, it's first so important to really love yourself. I know it sounds silly, but we have to give ourselves that love. We are the first people to criticize ourselves. We think we're too fat, we're too thin, we're too fair, we're too dark. We have acne, we don't have acne, we have long hair, we have curly hair. We have so many things we criticize ourselves about. So the first thing is, okay, this is me, and let me appreciate me for whatever I am. And
Yeah,
that's right over there. And you can't expect other people to appreciate you when you don't appreciate yourself.
absolutely.
The second thing is, something for me personally is, I have low days. I have days that I feel sad, I feel, oh my God, what's this world, whatever.
Yeah.
But I always, I then, it really helps me when I think, okay, now what all have I done? What all do I have? It's like a little further from gratitude. I think gratitude
Hmm.
is the best thing to have, because it really brings you back to the present and what you do have in this moment. Um, I continue to go uh, to my therapist every week, because I believe that we all have stuff we need to talk about, and it's almost like cleansing it out so it doesn't keep building like a pressure cooker and just burst. So you're constant, and as a counselor, for every 6 hours that we see a client, we have to seek 1 hour of supervision. It's an international recommendation, because you're always listening to people's sad stories, so you need to let that out as
Yeah, yes.
so that's something that I do, and I love massages. It's like my self care thing, so I make sure that I do as often as I can, and it's a way of telling yourself that you're important, and you got
Yeah,
um
wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever tried a sports massage?
Yes, I have.
Was it hurtful? How was your experience to it?
It was quite painful, to be honest.
Yeah,
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 I
yeah.
I prefer the
Calmer
less
way.
intense ones.
Got it. Wonderful. So how about relationships? How do you build on relationships? I would love to know from you that, since you are in that age
Mm.
and you must be being asked a lot about it. So is a marriage ultimate goal for you?
So I think in that respect, I'm a very traditional girl, in the sense that I believe in marriage. I believe in the institution of marriage. I would love to be settled down at some point, but I really don't believe in doing it for the sake of doing it, just to tick a box. And I don't think that, like, okay, now that you're 25, 26, 27, 28, that, okay, now it's time, and otherwise it's not going to
Yeah,
happen. So I think it's really, really important, the quality of the person. What kind of a marriage are you getting into? And do you really want it? Because it's not always like, I think the fun stops at the wedding. After that, you
yeah,
have to work to make every single day to make it work. And
yeah,
are you willing to do all of that? And if you are,
yeah,
then great. So I believe that each person should have their timeline. I don't think you should go by anyone else's timeline. And
yeah,
quality over just ticking a box any day.
yeah, yeah. So, how do you handle your relatives or people around you who keep questioning you? And I mean, I'm sure our young listeners would love to know how do you handle that kind of a situation where you really want to answer them, but indefinitely in a way that they don't come back to you asking about it again. you
I think
know?
I'm lucky in that, because people think that, oh, she has some problem with her skin. Maybe that's why no one is interested. So people don't really push me into that question.
Mhm.
So I kind of avoid that in that sense. But otherwise, I think when people know that my parents are okay with it, then they don't have anything much to say. So I think it's important to have your support system on board with whatever you do.
What is your definition of an ideal relationship? What would you say? In relationship in every sense. Of course, we would love to know in a romantic relationship as well, but what do you say about, as young females or listeners, what do you say that should be some of the things as a girl you should definitely see? Or,
So
it should be mutual, of course, not only girls, but in a sense, everyone who is listening to us, that they should have, that kind of a clarity, that it is something they are sorted. If they are getting into this person, they're very sorted about it.
I think, Swaran, one of the most important things is to be who can you really be yourself and open up to. Not just party with, go out for coffee with. Like today, if I'm feeling like shit, and I can tell you, Swan, today I'm feeling like shit, and you couldn't hear me out, rather than me trying to, like, how many times when you ask someone, how are you, and they say, I'm good, do you say I'm good without even thinking uh, about how you actually are? So I think
Yeah.
any relationship, it's so important to be able to really say what you're feeling and to be authentic. Um, because that gives you so much freedom. That is so liberating. You're not putting up any front, you're not putting up any false
Yeah.
impression. And you're
Yeah.
also actually giving the other person that comfort level that, look, you can also tell me what you feel when you feel like.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not all like we are all human beings. We have ups and downs. We feel good. We have good days. We have bad days. We have super days. But whatever you're
Mm.
feeling, to be able to share that not only in a romantic relationship, even with a friend. And I find
Mm.
that's really lacking today, where people can really
Yeah.
open to someone and say, "This is how I'm feeling. Actually, today
Yeah.
I'm not feeling good, and
Absolutely.
I need a hug. Let's go out for coffee. Let's talk about this." Um, and that, to me, that is a real connection you have with anyone. And if you have that, hold on to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. So, do you ever feel that, because you're being vulnerable or you're being authentic in a relationship, in any kind of relationship for that
Mm.
matter, like a friend also,
Mhm.
will you, is there a fear of, being taken on right?
People ask me this
Being
all the time.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel this is something I have realized with a
Mm.
lot of books and a lot of experience, that
Mm.
there is a sense of being because I am vulnerable to you, or because I have shared some of the some of the secrets with you. It just lands up in a stage where you are being taken for a ride, or being in a very uncomfortable situation with that person, that you are not able to even live that fully, and neither
Mm.
you are able to leave that relationship. Are you
Mm.
understanding what I'm trying to ask?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, what do you suggest for such people? I mean, I'm sure it is happening to a lot of people. I mean, not only females, but I'm sure there are males also stuck in
Of
this kind of
course.
a situation. And I feel this is something we don't often talk about, because we just don't know whom to reach out. So, how do you think counseling and these things can help us?
So I think what you're rightly saying, in our generation, there are a lot of toxic relationships, and you really nailed it by saying, you can't get out, you don't want to stay in. It's like you can't do either. So
Yeah.
I think this is really important, to go to a therapist and really understand what your patterns are. Usually, 99.9% of the time, there's something unhealed from your childhood, from some past relationship, that's attracting you to this kind of a pattern. So it's really good to understand what kind of patterns you get into, and we all have
Hmm.
patterns. The great thing is, we can learn about our patterns, we can work on it, we can heal, and we can do better. And
Hmm.
that's one of the great things about therapy, and that's so empowering about learning about yourself, is that it's not
Hmm.
like this is it, this is your, we are constantly evolving, we can change.
Yeah.
There are
Hmm.
learning behaviors, we can understand why this happened to us, and we can make sure that does not happen to us again, or at least
Hmm.
does not hurt us in the way, and we can be careful and really watch out for red flags in the future.
Got it. Yeah. Sure. So, what do you say for in a situation at that moment, when you are actually in that situation? How do you handle at that moment? Do you have any suggestions that
I
at
think
that moment you feel that this person is trying to take advantage of your vulnerability? What do you say in that moment for someone you just is trying to do something, or is just in that moment? What do you have? Do you have any suggestion?
I think if you've realized you're in that moment, it's probably how much ever you have to lose, it's probably time to take that risk and lose it, and really reflect about, is that what you want?
Yeah.
Because it's hurting you so much at this point, and
Hmm.
you can't take it anymore. So you're like, you're done, but you're so scared to take that step. So I think
Yeah.
that's the point where you really need to cut all your losses. Know that it's not your fault. A lot of people think it's their fault. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
How much ever a person how much ever they want to take advantage of you, I truly, truly believe that there's only so, let them do it. There's only so much they can do. But you be at peace with yourself. You need to sleep at night peacefully.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a point, Swaran, where you really have to take that risk to walk away. But
Yeah.
you need to
Absolutely.
make that decision.
Yeah. So I think, I feel as a female, I feel that there's a lot of challenge for a female to have that kind of a self-esteem or
Hmm.
a stand for her own self. There is a lot of unsurety in her mind. What do you think major reasons for a female becomes? Is it just because of her lowest self-esteem, or she's raised with a low self-esteem, or is it because the society thing? What do you feel is the major part of the low self-esteem to take such a stand for any serious relationship, or even for that any small friendship as well? Because sometimes you know that person for a long time, but you just can't do it. You will just take that shit because you are with that person, but you will not take that call of telling, hey, I'm not taking this. It's like that. So what do you say?
I think it's a combination of a couple of things. I think our cultural construct of what a woman is, should be, etc., is so hardwired into our brain that we think that this is the only way we can move, or this is what we are meant to do. That coupled with low self-esteem, we don't feel good about ourselves, etc. So, and I think the most important thing is we forget about ourselves. Like, we think that if we think about ourselves, we're being selfish. We should always put someone else's needs ahead of ours, and so we completely put our, we're not even in the picture
Yeah.
sometimes. So I think it's so important to first get ourselves back in the picture. Like, look, this is your life. You are in the driver's seat, and
Yeah.
you get to decide.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Great. So you are saying basically to take a stand, but a person who is in that moment so weak or not able to take a stand, what do you have to say for them? When they just don't have that courage. Like they just don't know what to do.
I think it's very important. I was just going to add that up with, it's very easy for me to sit here and say this, but the reality may be very different for that person.
Yeah.
So what I want to say is that find something that can support you, or someone that can support you, to till that stage where you feel good about yourself, good enough to take that stand. And we all need it.
Yeah.
And again, I know that it sounds easy when I'm saying it sitting here, and the reality may be very different, but every baby step is a step. So if
Yeah.
there's someone who will help you on that journey, if there's someone who you can slowly approach, who will help you, or something that will help you, or work, or because sometimes it's financial independence that people are scared
Yeah.
to understand.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's emotional. Your family does not want to support you, so maybe there's a friend who can help give you that
Support you.
emotional support that you need. So first reflect on what you need, because only we know
Yeah.
what we need, and
And we
then
clearly know it. We
yeah.
definitely know it. Unless we are not very thinking on those lines, we don't have time for ourselves. Then yeah, you're right. Definitely. So how do you build on trust issues? Like, someone as in the environment we are in right now, it is a lot of challenge of trust issues. Trust issues in either of the relationships. It can be of male, it can be a female, but there is a lot of challenge, and it's a very complex kind of a place we have come up with now, you know. And what do you say on those lines as a counselor for us?
I think trust is such an integral part of a relationship. But having said that, there are some things that are negotiable for you, and there are some things that you cannot negotiate. Decide what you find negotiable and what you don't want to negotiate on. And I think, like you rightly said, so today, even in a romantic relationship, there are like n number of dating apps. You don't know who's doing what. Literally, you really have to have trust. Um,
Yeah.
and be open with your partner or your friend or whoever that this is what I need, what do you need, and find some common ground, and if a person really wants to make it work, they'll meet you halfway. But
Yeah.
I think we need to be open about, and I think also trust now is such a gray area, because some people have some version of it, your partner may have another version of it. So try to understand what is your definition of what you mean
Version.
by trust. What does it mean for you, and then
Yeah.
work from there.
Hmm. But if someone, even if there is no combination of the thought, do you think it should still go? They should proceed if they are not on the same page. Do you feel that you should definitely go with that kind of a personality?
For me personally, trust is very integral, and if you're not on the same page about trust, I would not be able to go ahead with a relationship. And I can only speak for myself.
Of course. Yeah. Great. Sure. Sure. So, I would love to know that, these days, one of the major challenges as a female, I think, is that females are also independent and males are also, of course, they have been majorly. And that has created a lot of, there has been a lot of challenge to be able to
Mm-hmm.
survive in a marriage. There are a lot of challenges to, there are separations, there are divorce, there are people living separately, and a sense that husband is in a different city, wife is in a different city. Sometimes they are like that also. And yeah, they're studying or they're doing anything for that matter. There are people like that. So, it becomes a challenge to support each other, even though you are doing it, but in a sense that you're not mentally present for your partner. You know,
Hmm.
you're just missing on the whole point of there mentally. You know, sometimes
Hmm.
you're just there, but there is not mental thing. That
Hmm.
collision is not there. And what I'm trying to here ask is that because females want to progress in their careers and because there are a lot of career hurdles for females, there
Hmm.
has been a lot of challenge on relationship part,
Hmm.
especially for females these days.
Hmm.
So, what do you say in those lines for our female listeners, especially? I would say is that how to bring the balance. And of course it applies to males as well. But how exactly they should bring to that balance where they are not affecting their relationship as well, but still progressing in their own professional lives also.
So, first of all, let me say that I'm not married. So, whatever I'm saying is only from what I've heard, and I'm not the expert on it. So, I just want to be clear on that. Um,
Hmm.
I think what's important is I don't think there's a balance. I think sometimes one is always more than the other, but it's very important to understand which is playing a role today. So, maybe on the weekend when you actually can be more of a wife and less of um, an employee, because you're not working on the weekend, if you're not working on the weekend, but during the week maybe you have an important presentation and you can't be the perfect wife, to give yourself that permission. I think when you say balance, there's always something that needs priority at some point. Sometimes it's a meeting, sometimes it's a family function, and things take a backseat. But to say, okay, now I'm in this role, now this is important, now I'm in this role, now this is important, to give that clarity to yourself. I think otherwise you'll just drive yourself crazy trying to be perfect in all aspects and strike a balance in all aspects.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think it becomes and it gets difficult playing one role all the time as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, you need to balance the with the other role. So yeah, great. And so how has it been for you as a mental counselor, because you are also into mental counseling. So I would love to know on those lines, like what exactly you are coaching with, and especially I would love to know when it comes to younger females.
Mm.
There is a lot of career. Not clarity, I would say precisely, or there's a lot of there is a direction less kind of a situation, and
Mm.
they want to do everything, they want to do a lot in their lives, and there is a lot of aspiration. But with the kind of a world we are have ended up with is completely online. What do you suggest that, and how they should be able to strike a balance, and they should be able to, study and do their work and still progress in what they want to do? What should be the approach?
I think personally, and something that we practice is we don't give advice. We help people come up with their own solutions. We help them explore and we facilitate the process. So I'm not um, sitting here like an old grandmother giving advice. I'm just helping facilitate your process of discovering what's important to you, what you need, your patterns, etc. Now, with regard to doing so many things, I think again it's a societal pressure that you have to do this at this age, this, that, you can do this, you can do that. I think it's important to give yourself that time. What is important to me? What do I want to do? What do I want to explore? If work is important to me, let me stick at it. If exploring myself is important to me, let me stick at it. But I think to really reflect on yourself, what's important to you, and not get judged by what everyone else is doing or where they've reached in life. um,
Hmm.
Especially with us, it happens so much. I can speak for myself. Like, I'm at the age where all my friends are getting married or having kids. Now, if I'm going to tell myself that, oh my god, they're married, they're having kids or whatever, that's not my timeline or my journey.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
hard. But we constantly compare ourselves to someone else, his
Hmm.
journey. We don't know. And I really believe your timing is yours.
Yeah. Absolutely. So how do you change your focus from that moment when you're, because the youth is so much digitalized and they are
Hmm.
so much driven to Facebook, Instagram, and so on whatnot.
Hmm.
So there is a lot of challenge, in a sense, to be able to keep the focus to yourself. You know,
Hmm.
so, in that sense, what do you say? Maybe five things or at least three things you can share that we must be able to do it, whenever you are actually in that stage or you are doing that or you're
I
getting
think
caught up. Yeah.
it's important to bring yourself to your present, what you have right now.
Hmm.
Important to remind yourself of what you want. And I mean, I myself have to remind myself sometimes. It's so easy to get carried away by someone else's digital world, to think that they have it all. Trust me, the most beautiful Instagram profiles, you have no idea what they're going through. The same way that no one has an idea what you're going through. So I think to really remind yourself not to compare, and we do it all the time. And I think
Yeah.
we're like, the world around us is built, like even advertising, everything is built to sort of push us into thinking that way. So to really give yourself that importance, that this is yours, this is your journey, and you can do whatever you want, but you need to stop comparing it to someone else's journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Wonderful. So I would love to know this, towards the end. I always ask this question is one of the five, not one, I would say five things that you are really blessed about. You would definitely say that these are the things I just feel blessed the moment I, remember them.
uh, I would say my family, my father, mother, sister, um, my best friend, and my friends. My work, I love my work. Um, I think my country, I love India. I feel blessed to be part of this country. And I really feel blessed to be a woman.
Wow, wonderful, great. That's a wonderful thing to say. Not everyone ends up saying that. I wish a lot of women start feeling that, The moment they do, I think it will be changing our approach. Any one book you would say for our listeners who are listening to you that they must read this book?
I think it's called The Boy, the Horse, and the Dog.
Okay. The
I can text.
boy.
The
Okay.
boy, I mean, every page has something so beautiful.
Okay.
The horse, the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse.
Okay. Wonderful. The boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. Okay, got it. Yeah, Charlie Mackesy, right?
That's right.
That's the
That's
book.
right.
Okay, wonderful. Great. So I think with that we will close for today. And thank you so much for giving your time. And I think we'll keep in touch and let's hope to get you sometime again soon. Thank you.
Sure. It was a pleasure, Swan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.